Everybody like, hey, are you ready to go? Ready to go? Everybody like,
hey yo, what's good though? Soul here, and welcome back to my story mode. So, if you've read the title, if you've seen the thumbnail, you know exactly what this is. Today we're gonna be sitting down, kicking back, and having a laid-back review of Flynn Son of Crimson. Now, this is not gonna be a crazy in-depth, like crazy scripted, heavily whatever. We're kicking back and I'm talking about my feelings regarding this game. So this is probably gonna feel a lot longer than a regular kind of review that you may be used to. I'm not doing some IGN stuff, none of that. I'm kicking back, I'm talking about what I like about the game and what I dislike about the game. That's how I do reviews on this channel. If you don't like that kind of situation, I apologize. But I want to talk about it. I finished the game recently and I wanted to get my feelings out about it because I like talking about games. That's my whole shebang. So if you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, I'm surprised because this channel was dead before like 2 weeks ago, but glad you're still around. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about regarding games in the future, but today we're going to be talking about Flynn Son of Crimson, a little indie game that was recently released only a couple of days ago. I believe it released on September 15th. Today is not that. It is a couple days afterwards now. I just finished it a couple of days ago. I want to talk about it. So I'm going to talk about a couple of things before we get into the main point of the review, and then we're going to talk about my likes and my dislikes. So, first things first, this is not a brand new thing to me. Like, this isn't just some random game I decided to pick up on a whim. I have been following this game's progress since it was first announced about 4 years ago. I've been following this game for a very long time. If I'm not mistaken, since about 4 years ago, okay? I saw that they had a Kickstarter going on, and I was broke, so I couldn't really do much. But so by the time the Kickstarter had finished, it was too late for me. But I'm really glad. I was really happy to see that it reached all of its goals because I was legitimately intrigued from minute one. I was really looking forward to this game, and I followed everything regarding this game, all the creators and everything like that, or the Kickstarter or whatever. Like, I just paid very close attention to the development progress of this game. Even when it got a little quiet, I did get a little worried. I came back every now and again, but eventually things were going smooth again. They were doing a little bit of small updates here and there, and I was like, all right, cool. Looks like things are going well. That's awesome. Because, you know, you don't have to update us about a game every 5 minutes. That's totally fine. But it's nice to see when the game is alive. Bayonetta. So it was really nice to see some development updates here and there for the last couple of years up till its release, and I was in it from moment one. Please believe me. Maybe not like moment like uno, but like maybe like day like 30 or something. I don't know how long it took them to develop the little bit that I saw a couple of years ago, but I'll say it like this: I was glad to follow it. Okay. Now, the release date we only got about a month or so beforehand, I believe. We knew that the release was getting close because they kept saying, yeah, no, make sure you have it on your wish list on Steam or on Switch or whatever because it's going to be coming to all consoles. Just make sure you pay attention because the game is coming out soon. And then, essentially, they were like, yep, next month, September 15th, get ready. And I was like, wow, okay, well, feels a little sudden. Only because there was a lot of big releases this upcoming month. You know, there's a couple of... What else came out this month? Deathloop just came out the other day. I'm pretty sure the same day, if I'm not mistaken. Life is Strange came out recently. You know, there was just a lot of big releases recently. There was another one that I played the crap out of as well. What else came out? Oh, No More Heroes. Whatever. It was just a lot. Okay. Oh, that was... Whatever. Anyway. There's a lot of games coming out. But... This game was always a top priority for me. I was making sure, like, alright, no matter what happens with these other games, I'm making sure I'm getting my hands on Flynn Son of Crimson. I ain't missing out on a damn second, boy. Not a damn second, okay? So, no games were played. I made sure that we were good to go. I actually, first off, thank you guys so much for the instant deal on the game. Y'all did not need to do that. I was willing to shell out the entire 20, and y'all said, oh, we'll take off 10%. What? For what? You guys are some legends for that. Y'all are giving everybody a chance to try your game, and that's how we like to see it, bro. That's how we like to see it. Love that. Love that. That's the type of energy we like around here. Thank you guys for that. So, I had no problem getting the game. It was awesome. Got it on I was going to get it on PC originally. However, I had a lot of discounts on Switch too. So, you know, it kind of worked out beautifully. And I was very pleasantly surprised. It worked very well on Switch because, you know, it's not a game that requires a lot of power. You know, it's not like a modern game like it is a modern game, but it's not a game like Horizon. What is it? Horizon Forbidden West? Whatever PlayStation's current game is right now for that series. It doesn't take a lot, which is why it was just a perfect game for the Switch. It's one of those perfect pick up and play situations, you know, and it didn't take away from it at all. It was great. It was great. So I'm gonna say it right now. There are spoilers ahead. I'm going to be talking about some story stuff. I'm going to be talking about gameplay stuff. I'm just going to be talking about the entirety of the game because I want to gush about it a little bit. I want to talk about my feelings in depth, and the best way for me to do that is to talk about everything that was available. So, if you don't want any spoilers of any kind, go ahead and either go finish the game for yourself, or maybe go watch somebody play through it, or, you know, just go buy it yourself and play it, which is what I recommend, and then come back here and we could talk about it. But if you don't care about that kind of situation, you just want to see what kind of game this is, maybe you'll pick it up regardless of whatever spoilers I may bring up. Alright, cool. But just know, this is not on me, alright? There are spoilers ahead, so be forewarned when I dive into this right now. So, everything ahead, we're steaming, alright? Anything you get upset about, that's not on me, alright? Are we gonna rock? Let's rock. So, let's get things started here with things that I liked about the game. We always like to start on a high note. I want to talk about things that I enjoyed coming from this game. Alright? And I've got a lot to talk about because there's a lot that I liked about this game. We're going to go ahead and start off with the graphical style, which is what gripped me to follow this game's development in the first place. I absolutely love games that look like this. I don't know, what is this? 32-bit? I don't know what's the exact term is. Maybe somebody can educate me if that's okay. Go ahead, don't feel bad, just don't be mean about it, okay? I'm dumb. Just educate me a little bit. It's okay, we can have a conversation like people, just don't be mean. But point is, the graphical style is what hooked me from minute one. I absolutely love games like this because I can tell usually that games like this have a lot of heart, okay? Think about games like Shovel Knight, think about games like Celeste. They are very powerful games that just have so much to offer. And it was games like that that taught me, like, yeah, you can make modern games in this style and they could outrank AAA titles. Okay, absolutely. They can easily just be that much better than current generation games. Like, there are some games, they could look the absolute finest they've ever been in the series, whatever. They could look so modern and so crisp and so beautiful, but can mean absolutely nothing and have no kind of lasting impression. Well, games like this will easily steamroll over that, have amazing characters, amazing gameplay, amazing everything, but have been passed over because of its graphical style, because it looks like an older game. To which I say, that is unfortunate for people that pass up games strictly based off of their graphical style. That is a foolish decision, and I strongly recommend that you really look back on that decision, because it's games like this that you can look at and see, oh yeah, this game is going to have a lot of love put into it. And that's how I felt the minute I saw it on, what was it, Twitter? The first time I saw it? It may have been Twitter. I saw the art style and I said, what do I need to do to get my hands on this game? I had to wait a couple of years. Not a problem, B. And I don't regret a damn second of it. Alright? Easily, this is a beautiful game. Beautiful to look at. Everything, to the character designs, to the graphic style of the fighting, to the enemies, to the backgrounds, just everything was just made with pure care and artistic just genius. I love looking at this game. Like, I legitimately, like, love staring at it. The overworld, all the characters, just everything looks so good and so fitting. And because of its graphical style, it was so easy to just, you know, make sure everything meshed well together that it was just a good game to look at. Graphical style was beautiful through and through, and I'm really glad that we have a game that looks like this. I hope we get more games that look like this. Y'all, I have faith in y'all for whatever comes next. That's all you. Y'all have it. Y'all have it down. Y'all have the magic touch with the graphics, okay? Not even doubting that. All right. Moving on, because if I gush too long about the graphics, we will be here for an hour. Moving on, the music was absolutely banging the entire time, okay? At first, I was a little thrown off because I didn't expect it to sound the way it did. Like, it was the tone was unique for what it was. Like, I really don't know how to explain myself. I just didn't expect it to sound the way it sounded. Like, obviously I didn't expect it to sound bad or anything. I fully expected a fire soundtrack, but not the style that they chose. But yet, you know, after I gave it a little bit of time, whatever, I never turned the volume down. I can tell you that right now. The volume was always up because the soundtrack was absolutely fire. Everything that they had going on for it, it was perfect. It matched the tones of each level, every situation that we had, the map, the overworld theme, the town themes, everything. It just fit very well, and they did a very good job composing this music. Whoever they had for this, I'll look into that more. Whoever they had composing the music, beautiful job, guys. Beautiful choice. Loved every second of it. All right. There's really not much more to say about that. I really did like the music. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to the controls. The controls, my goodness. Now, I come from console. I love console games, and I love playing with a controller. I only recently started playing PC games the way that I did. I'm still not fully versed in using a keyboard for a lot of games. I'm better than I was before. Like, I've really gotten used to it, and especially for FPS games now, honestly, I kind of prefer it because I understand now. I will say it like that. Having that aim, beautiful. But for things like beat-em-ups and side-scrollers and, you know, fighting or action games, I would usually prefer to have a controller. And I gotta say, I'm really glad that I picked this game up on Switch because it feels so good. It feels so good in your hands. It feels so smooth to just control, like, just nothing crazy, just generally controlling Flynn, I'm sorry. Just being able to move around, to jump, to dodge roll, to hit things. It feels good. There is no lag time in between any of your inputs, and it feels amazing. It was absolutely polished to the finest degree, these controls. It feels incredible. He feels so responsive. He feels powerful. It feels good to move. Believe it or not, not a lot of games feel that good to move. Alright, fighting games don't even feel that good. Smash doesn't even feel that good. Some Mario games don't even feel that good. Mario games feel very clunky and slow sometimes to respond. But this right here, it felt instant. If I wanted to go right, he was going right. Left, let's go left. If I wanted to jump, he was already up in the air. If I was crouching, how low, bro? If I was attacking, how many hits we getting in before we gotta dodge? If we gotta dodge, I'm already on the other side. What's up? Flynn, why do I keep saying Finn? Damn it, Adventure Time. Flynn was already on it. Loved every second of that. Loved every second of being able to control that little powerhouse. It felt great. Okay, and I'm very grateful that I was able to play with my beautiful little Pro controller right in my seat, not having to worry about a keyboard. Like, very simple controls, and it gets the job done. Awesome job with all of the porting to every other console. It seemed like it ran pretty well for everybody. I can't imagine how many complaints there were. I haven't heard any, but maybe there were some. I have no idea. Didn't really need to look into it because I didn't have any problems. So if you want to disagree with me on that one, go ahead. But I was good, B, the entire time. So I'm gonna say the controls felt really good. Now, speaking of controls, we're gonna go ahead and move on to the combat, which I told y'all. I knew from moment one that the combat was going to be fresh as all get out. All right, that combat felt so damn good. Okay, you had a multitude of weapons to choose from, and each weapon was super unique and had a different fighting style to it that you could utilize in different combos and things like that. Alright, the sword had its very straightforward but good range in combos, okay? The axe had its very heavy hits. They were a lot slower, but they definitely hit hard on the bigger, tougher enemies if you really needed it to. And then you had the claws for their close combat. You had to be real close up on your boys, but the speed on them things are immaculate. You were like ka ka, ka ka ka, and then you're dodging. You're already on the other side. Okay. personally, I'm gonna say it like this. Personally, the claws ended up being my favorite to use because they were just quicker. All right, the combat just felt so smooth using the claws. However, I absolutely made sure to go back and use the other weapons every now and again because I always was reminded that the other weapons are absolutely fire. And when upgrading, it was very exciting for me to go back and utilize new combos with these weapons because they all have their own unique combos about them. You upgrade them all at the same time, but their combos they can be so different in how you utilize it, and that is just fascinating. And I love it. I love it. You know, so it's one of those things where even if you get these different items and they do different things, but at the end of the day, it's completely up to you what weapon you want to use. The weapon choice is totally up to you. There's nothing mandatory unless you need them to get through a certain area. You know, using an axe to break down the big purple crystals or whatever, because the sword and the claws obviously don't have the power to do it. Using the claws to get up to different areas and things like that. To claw your way up to different paths or whatever. To wall jump, pretty much is what I'm trying to say. Awesome. The sword is strictly for attacking. There's really not much to that. But inside combat, when you're fighting enemies, do what you want, man. Do what you want. You're completely free to choose whatever you need to choose to get through that combat. It felt so immaculate. And you could do whatever you wanted. You could switch between the mid combo. They were literally advertising some super crazy combos that you could do mid-air. You could knock them up into the air and you could switch between weapons for some unstoppable combos. It was fascinating. And I legit want to go back, play on hard, and learn how to do some of those insane combos. I want to do some combo videos. We'll see if that actually happens. But I really do want to go back and learn more about those that in-depth combo system. It's dope. It's dope. It's really dope. So, long story short, I love the weapons. I love the combat. The combat felt great. I loved hitting enemies. It was great the entire way through. It felt satisfying. It felt powerful. It was awesome. It was awesome. And that's really all I have to say about that. So let's go ahead and move on to actually talking about the individual enemies themselves. I appreciate not only all of the incredibly unique enemy designs with the wolves, with the goblins, everything, but they all had a little bit of a, they were unique, so they all had their own unique little touch to them, their own little challenge about them. The bees are very dangerous. You got to make sure to get the hell out the way of their stingers. You know what I'm saying? You had what I don't even know what those things were. They were like fat flies that bite. And sometimes you gotta realize, like, sometimes it's about patience, with the fat flies, you have to jump up, hit, and go down. My impatient ass, I had to learn that the hard way. There was a lot of trial and error involved. I would jump up, hit this fly a bunch of time with the claws, and then get hit and take massive damage. I'd be like, I can't get away, I would fight them on the ground. I would dodge roll, they would turn around and bite my ass. I'd be like, what is going on? It is literally trial and error. I had to learn that these enemies are unique. They all don't work the same way. I can't just dodge roll out of the way of every single enemy like I do the goblins or the wolves. When it comes to the, the bees, I had to get out of the way of the stingers and whatever. Sometimes they would have electricity surrounding them. I'd have to get that off them first, then, play tactical a little bit with the fat flies or whatever those things are called. I don't know what the actual name of the enemy is. I apologize. I would attack and then have to stop and wait for them to attack again before I would counterattack. It was all about countering. Each enemy was so unique in their own way. It was great. Even during endgame, I was getting my ass whooped by literally like common enemies because there's such a wide variety of them. They always had a uniqueness about them. There was new enemies every which way. You never knew what you needed to do to get past an enemy. Some enemies you couldn't even hit. There's a whole level with skeletons, and I tried to fight, and I got my ass rocked because you can't hit those. I had to learn that the hard way, but I love that. Some trial and error, I was able to just learn. Ain't no thing, bro. We love learning around here. We love learning new things. Brilliant. Brilliant. Absolute love to every single one of the enemies that weren't, even if they weren't bosses. Bro, y'all could have just copied and pasted goblins and bees or whatever just all over the entire game. you added uniqueness to them as we went along. You definitely made sure, yeah, there's still bees, but guess what? They got electricity around them now. You're going to need a little bit more strategy than you did before. Love that. Love that. The game evolved with us. The enemies evolved and strengthened with us. The more we learned, the more we were able to handle. The stronger the enemies got, the more we had to learn to get through. Here for the entire thing, bro. The entire situation. Love that. Whew, man, I've been talking a lot about that. But I just got, all I'm saying here is simply that the individual enemies were a great challenge, and I appreciate every single one of them. For the record here, I'm also talking about the mini bosses as well. The mini bosses were all unique. There was the wooded one. There was the ice one. They were just so unique, all of them. They all had their own crazy attack patterns and things like that that you had to learn about. And then you would fight them the first time, and then you realize that, oh, they're common enemies now, but I'm still whooping their asses because I've gotten stronger too. Doesn't mean that they're not getting stronger though. Trust me, that applies to the mini bosses too. They will mess you up if you aren't careful. Again, even in endgame, the ice spear one was giving me a lot of trouble throughout the entire game, but we live and we learn, baby. We live and we learn. So just throwing that in there, that definitely applies to the mini bosses. Love the way that they were built, all of them. So we're gonna move on here. Instead of just talking about mini bosses, I want to talk about the big bosses, the big boys, the big threats that were actually just, they were out to get Flynn, bro. Like the other ones, they're like, yeah, you're in our territory, we're gonna smack you up. But these guys, they were like, nah, we want Flynn, the Son of Crimson. Get over here. We got something to teach you. All right, we know you want to help your dog. Guess what? You got to get past us for that. Man, those bosses were no joke. All of them were unique as hell, and they had a pattern to them that you definitely had to learn through and through before you were getting through them. Some of them I struggled with more than others, but all in all, very unique bosses, crazy attacks, and just a great struggle. Like, it's very rare to have fun struggling. You know, I've played a lot of Kingdom Hearts in my day. I've played on Critical and things like that. Sometimes you just want to be like, oh, come on, please, just get me through. I just want to get to the next. No, I didn't mind fighting these bosses over and over again because they were just so much fun to try and get to. You know, it was such a fun struggle, and all of them have these crazy unique attacks. You have the one in the ice realm where he's flipping over icicles and things like that, and he's doing his, you know, his spin dash situation. You have to hold on to a rope, otherwise you're gonna get flattened. You know what I'm saying? Like the sniper, you know, sometimes he'll attack you from the side. You know, he'll shoot these big lasers. Sometimes he'll go off screen and pull a zig bar where he's shooting at the or I'm sorry, not everybody else Kingdom Hearts. Duck Hunt. You know how they shoot the screen off screen? Love that. Love that. Beautiful detail for a gunner enemy. Love that kind of situation. All of the bosses were super unique and super fun to fight, and I had a great time with every single one of them. Very well designed, hella fun bosses, all of them. Oh man, Endgame, the final boss, don't even get me started, bro. That man was a beast. I don't know how I survived him, but when I play hard, oh man, I'm gonna get rocked. I promise you, I'm gonna get rocked for hours, and I'm so excited. I'm very excited. So, just throwing that out there, the bosses are super dope. Okay. Next thing that I very much enjoyed was absolutely the story. Okay, the story was very... Actually, before I get into the story, I'm so sorry. I know you wanted to talk about that, but just know that that is the thing that I appreciate. Before that, though, I want to appreciate the progression system in the game. In the game, you play as Flynn, and you need to collect a lot of Crimson. Crimson is the currency of this game. You get it every single time you beat an enemy or break a big red crystal. You bring that back to town, and you have somebody that will teach you as long as you have enough Crimson to learn certain techniques and things like that. And so, while it's not your simple basic level up system where you just grow in stats, you know, with speed and strength and jump height or whatever, it was a very well done progression system. Like, getting these, it helped me feel like I was getting stronger. And not only that, I was it was one of the primary things that got me invested into the game. Like, if you're giving me an RPG or an action game, don't just make it so that, you know, I'm just taking on a tour here. Make it so that I'm rewarded for going out of my way for getting stronger. Like, I want to be able to, if I get stronger, let me test that out on things, you know? Like, I've been playing a lot of Metroid lately, right? And at first, you know, it felt like it was taking me on a tour, but then I was starting to get upgrades and things like that. I'm like, oh, snap. This upgrade allows me to go back and do this here or whatever. Now, obviously, Flynn Son of Crimson is not a Metroidvania in any way, shape, or form. This is purely getting better stats, you know, for combat, better combo situations, better upgrades for your magic, things like that. It felt amazing being able to, it felt great just going back to levels and grinding out some Crimson to get that next upgrade that I felt that I would really need for an upcoming boss. It felt really good to just know that I worked for this upgrade and I'm going to be able to utilize it in this next battle, because, you know, I definitely need to get stronger. And it inclined me so much to collect not only just regular Crimson, but to collect the what are those? The relics for Yambal, because Yambal is who gave you what is it, 1,000 Crimson per item. That is like 5 rows, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, like 20,000 Crimson. You do not want to slip out on that, bro. And I was making sure to go out of my way to get every single one. If I missed it in a level, guess what? I was going right back to get those, okay? I was very much inclined to get as much Crimson as possible in every single level so that I can make sure to get my upgrades through for when I went into the next level or into the next boss, because you never know what was going to strike next. And as long as you had your upgrades, you would probably be fine. You could totally go through the game without any upgrades, but I promise you would regret it. I promise you. So, just gonna say, the progression system is what really made me feel inclined to play the most. Like, it was just, you know, not that nothing else did, but the progression system really put that beautiful finishing touch on the combat, just making me go out of my way to grind out some Crimson combat and get those upgrades to make me feel stronger. Love that. I'm here for it every single second. So, that's enough of that. Now let's start talking about the story, because that's the final thing on my primary likes here that comes to mind immediately. The story was very simple fun. It was great. Okay, very well written. It had its lore about it. It had its lore about the world, and it had a lot of, you know, what's Flynn's parent. It was pretty much essentially the lore of Flynn's parents and what happened before that, and why Flynn had to do what he needed to do. Why he was the, you know, the one with the with the Crimson abilities that needed to get this. He was the only one capable of getting done what he needed to get done, and I love that. I'm a simple person, okay? I like writing, okay? But even though I like writing, I like simple things. I like simple story plot line. You're giving me all this, you know, convoluted multitude of plot lines that have to lead back and things you have to remember, and just some things that don't even have to do with some things that may have led into it. Like, you don't need all that to tell a good story. Okay, there's some things where you could just keep it simple. Hey, this happened in the past, this is what's happening now, here's how to get to the future. That's If you can make it hit with a story like that, you've done a phenomenal job, and they have done a phenomenal job. Okay, I like the story that they told with Flynn. I love the story that they told with his parents and what happened beforehand and why he was burdened with what he had to do. Okay, very simple story. He got involved because his dog got hurt. His dog didn't need to get hurt, but guess what? You hurt his dog, we gonna hurt you. You don't mess with the dog, bro. You don't mess with the pup. It ain't going down like that, homie. Nah, you messed up when you hurt Dex. Not a game you want to play. And it just led into a very smooth, fun story. And I loved it. I love the lore of this world. I love how they had a whole situation, a whole war, frankly, just going on in the background that everybody just kind of got dragged into, you know? It was so interesting to learn the lore of this world and how things came to be. And it was great. It was super great. So, me personally, I was absolutely in love with the story. I'm not going to sit here and explain it in depth or anything like that because, you know, there's a lot of people that want to play it. And I know I said I was talking about spoilers, but for the most part, you know, I did kind of spoil a lot. But either way, phenomenal story, great writing. Love the way it was done. Very simple. I'm simple. And I love it. I love it. So that just about does it for all of my gushing, the beauty of. Actually, I'm not done with my gushing, but that just about does it for everything that stood out the most to me, my likes. Now, let's talk about my quote-unquote dislikes. And usually when I say this, it's just things that either just I felt should have been there or maybe wasn't there enough or whatever. In this case, I'll be honest here. There wasn't a this isn't just me like overhyping or anything. There's not a lot here that I didn't like, okay? There's some things that I felt were kind of missing, you know, but it's nothing that deteriorated from the game. Like, for example, I didn't feel like there was enough dex levels, okay? Now, I love that pup so much, bro. And I'm pretty sure she's a girl. I think I read that somewhere. I don't remember. It might have been said in the game, but I can't remember. It was a couple days ago now. But either way, love dex. And finally getting all of her power back, it felt so awesome being able to ride her through levels and fight baddies and things like that. I would have loved to have a boss that was strictly dedicated to fighting alongside Dex. Like, only a boss fight that fighting alongside Dex could do. You know what I mean? I would have loved to see more Dex levels because the Dex ones were very well designed. There were so many different little obstacles and things like that that just, it was fun. It was great. You know, especially, I think that was the last level with her where you had to go in between, like, getting off and hopping up to higher ground and things like that. You had to hop off or whatever. You were on and off her very constantly to get through puzzles, and it was awesome. I love that. And I feel like there should have been a little more, you know, the Dex levels, because she is a very good mechanic. Like, it's fun to ride the big doggo, you know? The last level with her, I don't really count, because all you do is just ride her straight forward and just get a bunch of crimson, you know? So I feel like there should have been more Dex levels. The levels that were there, very well done. I would have loved to see more. That's all that is, okay? Next along, this is just a lot of my quote-unquote dislikes are just me being greedy. I would have loved to see some more bosses, you know? The bosses that we did have, like I said, incredible. This is just me being greedy. I would have loved to see more bosses. The bosses that we had were so unique and so awesome and so fun that I would have just loved to have a whole nother area that we had to travel to just to get through some more levels and fight some more epic baddies, man. Like you know, usually there's like a whole thing with maybe 7 bosses in total, maybe 8. You know, think about Scott Pilgrim. You know, side scroll beat 'em up. There's like a lot of bosses usually, and I just would have loved to see more. There was I think there was like 5, 6 bosses in total, besides not excluding the final boss, I believe. Just saying. It was great to fight the mini bosses when they were first introduced, because you eventually started feeling more powerful because, you know, they got introduced as common enemies, you know? I would love it if we got sneak attacks from the bosses that we fought before, but maybe they got stronger, you know? I would love to see, you know, if there was like a story for each of these bosses. Maybe, you know, the first time around they were, you know, they struggled to beat you, whatever, they lost, they came back and they got a big upgrade, you know, they got even stronger because, you know, they're on their way to kick your ass, you know, they want that. And so they'll do whatever necessary to get that power to beat you. And so when they come back the second time, it's even more of a crazy loss, you know? Just saying, even if they were like just enhanced versions of the originals, I would have loved to see more bosses, okay? And I also would love to see a boss rush mode. Maybe some kind of upgrade some kind of update down the line, bro. Just saying, I would love to see some kind of boss rush. But either way, the bosses were sick, and I just wanted to see more of that. That's all. Again, this is just me being greedy. Ain't nothing wrong with the amount of bosses that we have now. Very solid, very satisfying. Would have loved to see more, though. That's all. That's all. And then the last thing is, once again, just me being a greedy beady. Kind of wish that collecting every single item for Yumball gave us some kind of like permanent physical upgrade, you know? I would have loved it to, you know, I would have loved for that to unlock some kind of crazy secret ability, or maybe some other transformation or something like that. Because, you know, these are, you know, when you think relics or something in a video game, you usually think, oh, you collect that, it'll probably enhance your power of some kind. No, these are just random treasures that Young Ball wanted, which is cool. That's awesome. That's funny. I love that. I just wish that, you know, there was a bigger, you know, reward. Not that the Crimson was a bad reward. Don't get me wrong. But I would have loved a bigger reward. That's all I'm saying. You know, it was I still think it was very worth going out of the way to collect all of them because they give you a lot of Crimson that you are going to need on your journey. They are crucial. Alright? If you don't get that, you're going to be grinding out levels forever. Alright? Just saying, those definitely help out a lot, and it's definitely worth collecting. However, I would have loved some kind of crazy permanent upgrade that you could maybe, like, take into the final boss with you, you know? That's all. That's all. So, whatever the case may be, still a very awesome mechanic. Still going to do it again because collecting is just fun. But yeah. So, overall, my overall thoughts when it comes to this game, this is quite easily one of the best games of 2020, and this is not me capping. You do not... This is one of the best games of 2020, easily, for certain. I played a lot of games this year, okay? One of my favorite game this year is probably, you know, The World Ends With You, because I grew up on that game. And the other World Ends With You coming out this year, come on, bro. But this is easily one of the, like, my top 2 even, of this year. It was so much fun. And I don't know, if you know me, you know that if a game has me getting up every morning to come and play it, like if I feel forced to have to take a break for the night or whatever, and I'm just, the first thing I'm thinking about is coming back to that game, that is a fire game to me. Alright? Because when I had to go to sleep the first night it came out, all I could think about was getting up the next morning and getting back on the grind. Okay? Just saying. This is a phenomenal game that should not be skipped out on by anybody. Alright? I could feel the love and development in every single corner of this game. It shines through in the story, in the gameplay, in the level design, in the character design, in the music. Every angle of this game has some sort of love put into it. As somebody that plays an absurd amount of games, I play games as often as I freaking breathe. As somebody who plays that many games, I can see when love is put in. I can see when there's love and care put into a game. And this has it everywhere. Every step of the way. And I appreciate that wholeheartedly. Okay? Down the line, I would love to see some kind of like DLC. I would love to see a little DLC that follows the main rival, Rosia. She seems like such an important character with a lot of depth, and like even in the story, I was just so excited to see her again. Like, oh, what you gonna bring out next? You know, like I just wanted to see more of Rosia and see what she was capable of. I would love to see some kind of DLC that kind of follows her side of the story of things. I would love to see what her upcoming was like, what her side of the story of, you know, fighting against Flynn was like. And I feel like that's one of those things that y'all already had planned anyway. Maybe I'm wrong, whatever. If you don't have it, cool, awesome, dope. But I would love to see it. I liked Rosie as a character, I really, really did, and she was awesome, you know, talking all that mad garbage, like, get your anger under control before you try and come fight me, you ain't no match for me right now, or, okay, I'm struggling a little bit, you can go fight the final boss, but if you lose, I'm coming up to finish your mess. Like, love that. Love a good character. That's a good character. That's a fun character that I want to learn more about, okay? So, just saying, I would love to know I would love to see her side of things. That's all. But either way, long story short, if we had to give it a rating, bro, this is easily, if like out of like 5, like easy 5 for me. Easy 5. Again, I didn't dislike anything about this game. It was just things that I wish it had more of, because I want to spend even more time with this game, you know? I've 100%ed it now, so I know the full extent of the game, and I just want to hop back in and do it again, because I just want so much more. And that is a beautiful thing. That is such a good, well-made game, especially for its price. I spent more time with that game than I did with some AAA titles this year. Like, easy top 3 of 2021. Please pick this game up, because this is a phenomenal title that you do not want to skip out on. Absolutely good time, and you have no excuse, because it's literally on every console. you could consider this free advertisement. I don't care. This game was worth every second. Worth every second of my wait. Loves it to death. Whew. Look at me. I gotta calm down. I gotta breathe a little bit. That's enough from me. I want to hear... Ouch. Poke my eye. I want to hear what you guys think about this game. Did you enjoy it yet? Did you play it yet? What did you think about Flynn Son of Crimson? Did you think it was as crazy and as good and it was worth every second? Did you pay for the Kickstarter when it was first coming out? Or is this game really just not your style? There's just something about it that just turns you off and you just can't get yourself into it. I want to know all of your guys' thoughts in the comment section below. Keep me posted on that. But with that, I'm going to leave you to it. I'm going to get up out of here because it do be skedaddle o'clock. Thank you guys ever so much for watching. I truly do hope you enjoyed. Do me the greatest favor of dropping a like and a comment, and consider subscribing for more content just like this. And with that, I'll be seeing you guys later. Thanks again, hope you enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Do me the greatest favor of taking good ass care, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!